This video is part 2 of what I expect is going to happen in American Horror Story Apocalypse. In this video, I'm basically going to talk about what I think will happen in episode 6 and on in the season, whereas in part 1, I talked about episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, along with the cast and characters. Feel free to watch that first and then come back to this video, or just stay here. Should be fine. Okay, anyway, now I'm going to talk about Episode 6. Episode 6 is where Ryan Murphy says that things start to change in the season. You can interpret that in any way, but I think this is where the Coven starts getting involved and like the major crossover elements between Murder House and Coven start to come into play. Episode 6 is directed by Sarah Paulson. Oh, and by the way, Sarah Paulson is directing an episode this season, episode 6, and also Evan Peters is directing an episode this season. We don't know which one yet he will be directing or has directed. Okay, so episode 6 is the episode where Jessica Lange returns as Constance, and this is also the episode where Connie Britton and Dylan McDermott return as Vivian and Ben Harmon. Violet Harmon will be returning in this episode too, if not earlier, but we know she is returning. This is also where we know that the production crew has been filming at the Murder House location from season 1. So I assume all of these things will be featured in a flashback, given the destruction that the apocalypse has occurred, so I don't imagine the Murder House would be still standing, although it is got some magical ghostly voodoo going on with that, so perhaps it could survive, but I don't see that being plausible. I don't see them going that route. But yeah, I assume this is flashback, given that Vivian's dead. Like, everybody's basically dead that's coming back anyway, so they're either going to have to resurrect people or flashback. I think most of the Murder House characters will definitely be flashbacks. We'll probably see further back before Michael Langdon was born, maybe some flashbacks of the Harmons when they lived there, or maybe just the Harmons as ghosts. But also we could see scenes of Constance raising Michael Langdon, you know, stuff like that. The picture that Ryan Murphy posted of all the witches from the Coven, that was on the set of episode 6. So this is the confirmed beginning of when the Coven will come into play. They may come into play earlier, but this is the only one that we know they're in this episode. So Stevie Nicks is in this episode, Frances Conroy's in this episode, Gabourey's in this episode, you know, all those witches that were in that picture. Perhaps we'll see some resurrection of the witches to try and stop Michael Langdon, or maybe these will all be flashbacks and only some of the witches that survived will actually go on to the rest of the season. Maybe the ones that have died in Coven are actually dead and they just came back for a flashback and nobody was resurrected, but I doubt they would go that route. Let's talk more about the stuff that has leaked. Now, I don't think much of the leaked material will come as a surprise, but just in case, this is the last chance to leave the video if you don't want any spoilers on American Horror Story Apocalypse. Let's first talk about the traffic jam scene with Billy Eichner that was shot in downtown Los Angeles. I think this will happen in episode 1. Perhaps people got a warning on their phones, like what happened in Hawaii, that like a nuclear strike is about to hit, and so maybe that's why everybody's running or driving, trying to flee the area. But Billy Eichner's character seems to be going the opposite direction of where everybody else is running to, and he's on the phone. So maybe since he is like an influential person, presumably, I'm theorizing, maybe he has a bunker somewhere or connections to someone that will keep him safe for this situation, because maybe he's important. Maybe he's a businessman, maybe even a politician, I don't know. I would imagine him more of a CEO type person. Next, I want to discuss the scenes shot in Malibu for probably around episode 2 to 4. We know they shot here for around 3 to 4 days. What we don't know is what cast members were present, and we didn't actually get any shots of the actual filming. We just got them setting up the set, so we're not quite sure what's going on in the scene, but I would say this scene really just shows how bad the destruction was and how it destroyed these cars, and this beach is basically a wasteland. Maybe one of the main characters has set up camp on this beach, or maybe they pass through it while they're journeying to wherever Venable promises survival. This next leaked, which I believe may have been found by AS Leak, but Reddit may have found it first, shows wreckage of a building and some cars after the apocalyptic event. As some fans have pointed out, there's definitely some more to the scene than just a building and some cars. At AHS info_ on Twitter, I think pointed it out first. that this building, or what's left of this building, very closely resembles the Coven building from season 3, the school where the witches lived. And to be honest, I cannot even imagine it being anything other than that. Like, the similarities are too close. This is obviously what they're doing. This leaked around the time they're filming episode 6, so I assume this scene happens in episode 6 as well. But every detail, like the windows are the same on as the Coven, and the pillars, there seems to be less pillars than on the actual Coven, but also they could CGI some more of the wreckage in, and some more background, I feel like, because there's no mountains in New Orleans. So I feel like most of the scene will be CGI, but what they have here is definitely trying to look like the Coven. They even have like the gate from the Coven. So they recreated this in Los Angeles, not in New Orleans, but it's definitely the wreckage of the Coven after the apocalyptic event. This just goes to show how big this nuclear event is, because we assume, I guess it hasn't really been confirmed, but I'm pretty sure that most of Apocalypse will take place in California. If this nuclear weapon or whatever happened, it did not just affect the West Coast. It's all the way over New Orleans. It's probably a worldwide thing, or at least obliterated America. If this affected the Coven as well as Los Angeles, they're not playing around with the word apocalypse. So the actual building that the Coven witches lived in is destroyed by the apocalypse, but the witches, at least some, seem to have survived. The next leak I want to talk about, I probably won't end up showing on screen because FX really doesn't want this footage out there, I believe, because they've suspended some accounts over it. Whoever filmed this shouldn't have filmed it. Anyway, these aren't major spoilers, however, they did leak the fact that Dylan McDermott is even returning to begin with. I don't know if they would have announced it if these leaks didn't come out. But anyway, this last week they were filming at the American Horror Story murder house in Los Angeles. This person on set, we don't know if he was an extra or if he was trespassing. The thing that seems to be the most plausible is that he was trespassing and trying to pass off as a crew member. But anyway, all that really leaked was a video of Dylan McDermott catching a ball in the halls of the murder house. He's crouched down with a baseball mitt catching this baseball, and a crew member is throwing it at him, but it looks like he's playing catch with a child, basically, because it's bouncing off the floor and he's all crouched down. Who knows what is actually going on in the scene, but another thing that leaked was Cody Fern's actual character, Michael Langdon, what he looks like. Cody Fern's in the murder house, and he looks remarkably similar to Tate Langdon in season 1, which makes sense because he is his son, but they're obviously going for that. His hair is the same, his costume looks the same. That's the other thing that leaked, along with just videos of Sarah Paulson directing. Connie Britton also filmed scenes that week. Emma Roberts was also spotted at the murder house that week. That's going to be interesting because she actually wasn't in season 1. She's the only character there that wasn't in season 1, so it's interesting to see what she'll be doing there. Okay, so this is me editing, just interjecting right here. Since I recorded this, more information came out about why Emma Roberts was at the murder house location. She was as Madison Montgomery, and there's a picture of her that she posted of her in the remains of a destroyed gazebo with a bunch of skeletons. And if you don't remember, in season 1, Ben Harmon built that gazebo to hide the remains of Kate Mara's character. I can't remember her name for some reason. So it seems as though Madison Montgomery is at the murder house and has discovered these remains under this gazebo. Maybe she's trying to resurrect somebody that was buried there, because obviously more people have been buried there besides Kate Mara's character. And also, an interesting thing, Madison Montgomery was with Billy Porter's character. So we now have some information regarding Billy Porter's character in the season. We previously had no information, but now we know that he's at least with Madison Montgomery in some way. He's somehow related to the Coven. He's working with Madison Montgomery, or just has scenes with her, but he's dressed similarly to Madison, so I think they're kind of going to be a duo this season. But it seems this is probably before the apocalypse. Madison Montgomery and Billy Porter come to the murder house, and they discover these remains. I don't know why, how, or what, and how this connects to anything, but that is what seems to be happening in the scene. Wait a second. I just got an idea. So, I think I may just make this into a whole nother video, because I was planning on doing a video on this subject anyway, but I just connected. I put 2 and 2 together, and I think I know what may be happening in the scene. And I'm going to make that a video. Alright, so I think I covered the basics of the cast and the plot and all the leaks that have come out. There are some few other details that I would like to share, but this video has gone on for quite some time. If you guys like this, give it a thumbs up and I'll do the part 3. But thank you so much. If you didn't like it, please leave feedback. That'd be nice. Constructive criticism is always good. Subscribe if you want more. I will be reacting to each episode of American Horror Story Apocalypse as it comes out. And that's it. Please check out some more videos that are on your screen right now, and don't forget to subscribe.